Good day, Tamers. You got some hands. Top 16 coming in for you from the latest EU regional, and I think we had a pretty good day yesterday. I don't know about you guys. I had a fantastic time casting, as I always do. Some plays may have not been optimal. Some plays may have been a bit underhanded. But either way, I think we had a great time yesterday, and hopefully you guys will be there to join me next time we have one. Right now, I don't know where we'll be casting next time, but hopefully it'll be somewhere cool and somewhere collected. Either probably with OPE or Raid and Trade, or possibly even with No Heroes, which is an upcoming TO currently doing a lot of Bandai stuff in the background, and going to take their hands on the Digimon bandwagon. Hopefully we get to work with them soon. Either way, let's jump into this top 16. So, at 16th place, we have Yondi. Came in here with a very interesting, slightly different list that I've seen when it comes to Leviamon. So we have the Sunamon, which seems super common. That's the only thing here that I could say is like 100% seen this every single time. Sunamon, great card. If I remember correctly, it's like every time you trash a card, draw a card. Fantastic, that's what we want to do. Gabmon X Antibody, one of these, and that's just because essentially it's limited to one. Gaziamon, two of these. I did see a few of these running around during the Leviamon matches we did cast for over the weekend, and this is likely because there's lots of gaining gaining memory going around currently in the format, so it makes sense that you want to have this around just to sort of slow things down a bit. For the Gabmons from the structure deck, this is the Christmas special version, which at one point was much cheaper than the structure deck version, so I can see what they're playing for with these ones. One of the Gabmons, I believe, from the structure deck from the original structure deck, I think it is, which is essentially a worse version of the 4-offs that there's in here, but still a pretty good card. Two of the Rush Guilmons. Now, I love this card. I think it's fantastic, and you're generally going to have that 20 trash between you and your opponent, generally by turn 3. So, get going, Tamers, and dig deep. We have two of the rare mons. If you're lucky and pick these up early on, you weren't punished by the card market fairies, which at one point this card was up to 50,000 euros, believe it or not. We also have one of the Grumon X Antibodies. Same reason as the Gabmon, it is limited to one. So for one copy of this card, you get to play, and that's all they say. Then going on to the Octomon. I didn't see many people using Octomon during this. I did see a lot of people using the Dobamon X Antibody instead of this. I don't know if this is the variant where they want to try and push more things out, make your opponent play things if not gain memories and so forth and so on. And that could have been where they were going with this card. We have four of the Grumons from the structure deck. Simple card, Digivolve, draw, trash, what the deck wants you to do. Where Siegramon? I believe this is actually support for this deck. It makes sense that it's here. Three of the Dragormon. I think we did have trouble pronouncing this Digimon's name during the cast. Not that anyone picked me too much for this. Again, I think it's very similar to how the Octomon works. Like you make your opponent play something, and then you get to do your effects, which I think generally is the fact that you get to go up into Levia X now. Three of the Levia X's, which seems very standard. I've seen 2 or 3. I've never seen 4 or 1. So I think that's generally the case with here. Although you do see 1 or 2 of in these in the Great Demon Lords decks that we'll see in a couple of months' time. Leviamon, 4 of these here. It's the main card for the deck. It's very good, and it'll kick you in the teeth if you're not looking. Shangram, 1 of these here. I have been seeing a lot of these of 2-offs in decks. I think it's just because people want the extra chance of finding it and then blowing out the opponent for a turn. Because it's, as we can all agree, it's a very oppressive card. Does a lot of things right and makes you feel very, very wrong afterwards. 3 of the 7 Lightnings, 4 of the Biting Crushers, 3 of the Memory Boost, you can't see behind, 3 of the Purple Memory Boosts, 4 of the Entrainings, and 3 of the original alternate art X Antibodies. I did see a lot of people running the Protos. I can understand if people had these in hand, but they didn't have access to the prototypes because they have gone up in price, and I understand people aren't always able to get some of the cards, but the X Antibody is still a very good card. It's still a very good version of this card, as you only need the name to trigger some of these effects. Now, going over to the Young M. Mussard. I do apologize if your name has been pronounced incorrectly. Lugamon, very good deck. I think this deck is really good. I wouldn't say it was underperforming, just because it's one of those decks that has to sort of set up first and then can go for the kill. We had it on stream, I believe it was against the Gallopmon, it was, where I think it was like turn 3, they just like nothing on board and just took the game away. 4 of the Bow. I think that's perfectly fine. I think everyone agrees that Bow is the best one for Luga. 4 of the Luga. Two of the Gazi, same thing as earlier. I think it's just trying to reduce the amount of memory people are getting back on their turns, especially in some of the other colours that can't quite get things off the field. 4 of the new Luger from BT15, 2 of the Fangmon, 3 of the Lugar from BT14, 3 of the Lugar from BT15, 2 of the Black Cats because they are very good, and you can tell me otherwise, but they are probably one of the best cards in this deck. 1 Tyrannomon because it's a very good card. 3 of the Helluga, which is generally where I see this at. I normally see like a 3 and a 4 split. 4 of the Souls. 3 of the Chimeras. I don't want to do the wrong fingers here. 3 of the Chimeras. 4 of the Hellugas, and then 2 of the Miss Memory Boost, which is I prefer Miss Memory Boost over having the Purple Memory Boost. 4 of the Wisdoms. 1 ADP. Now I do believe, like, I agree that there's I think a lot of people were scared that there's going to be a lot of security control in the format because of obviously Worlds having the security control deck win. So to me it makes sense that the people are sort of just edging their bets for it, let's say the least. With that being said though, we go into an EG now. We have 4 of these things, use the right fingers, 4 of these things. He's the main key character here. You know, you get your lights, this, you get a blocker from this. He's just coming and swinging, and that's kind of what you need for this deck. And then 4 of the analog use, who actually make the rest of the deck work. It's basically how you get your trash going. Very easy. You want to blow yourself if you're hell, but pretty much early enough you can do it to your opponent quite swiftly. Depending on how many analogs you give, depends if it's your turn or not. Hatching an egg makes it easy. Obviously, you can go back to 0 on your turn. You can then put in possibly a Gazi or a Luger for the following turn. Go up into and then maybe play out one of your other pieces. Give your opponents just enough memory so they can just swing on their turn, and then you come out again and have another EG in the stack. But no, I do think Luger is a very good deck, and I do think it's people who are playing it right now are doing very well. Next we have Dijao. Again, hopefully I pronounced your last name correctly. And we're playing what I believe is Yellow Vaccine. I could be wrong here. Running 4 of the BT14 Tokamons. Your turn was per turn. When a card is added to your Screws deck, draw 1. You do a lot of recovery in this deck. It makes perfect sense. And then running the 1 Narrowmon, which is BT15, which is attacking once per turn by trashing the top or bottom card of your Screws deck. Gain 1 memory. It might come up. I'm not 100% sure if it would come up too much in this deck specifically, but I mean, I could see it coming up. Then we go into the main list here. We got 4 of the Patamons. Patamon's very strong. I'm surprised they haven't looked at maybe punching Patamon in the hips or something like that, because he's like I've seen people go from Patamon to like Mega in like 2 memory. It can be quite viciously horrible. Although funnily enough, he's not a vaccine, he's a data. 4 of the Salamon, 2 of the Pillarmon here. So Pillarmon's here because players can't play Digimon by effects, which is obviously very good in this meta right now. No Luger. A lot of the other purple decks are currently suffering from it. Some of the green decks will be able to not play through it as well. So I do think Pillarmon was a good choice for this format currently. 4 of the secret rare Angimons from BT14. 3 of the Wizardmons from BT15, I believe. Which to me is kind of a unique take on the deck list, as it's not I've seen much of right now. Now I don't know if I'm just not keeping up with what's going on with Yellow Vaccine, as to me it seems like a weird choice, but I mean, what do I really know? I don't play Yellow Vaccine, but it's just a blocker on play on deletion by trashing top card or bottom card of your security deck. One of your opponent's Digimon gets -6,000 DP for the turn. For the cost of 5, that's a pretty good way of getting rid of some of your opponent's level 4s, and it can set the back quite a bit, and then you do have a blocker on the following turn in case they do have a answer to your DP reduction question. And then we have 4 of the Lotmons from the same set from BT15. That is, when effect trashes the card from security deck, you may play this card without paying the cost. 3 cards are always pretty good. It has barrier. All turns will return. When a card is removed from your security deck, gain 1 memory. Again, you're removing stuff and adding stuff to this deck, security deck for this deck constantly. Makes sense that you would do. And then it has the inherent effect of barrier. So, yeah, quite a good choice. Magnet Angimon from BT14 here. Essentially, it's just a better version of the BT1 Magna. Cost of 4, throw it on the field. If you've got 5 or less security, gain a recovery. And even if you do remove it from the field, it will just essentially laugh in your face as it still costs 1 less than to play the original Angimon from BT1. Angimon though from BT15 here, hand counter blast resolutions for those who don't know, also a 4 cost from the field. On play when digivolving by trashing the top or bottom card of your security deck. One of your opponent's Digimon gets -6,000 DP until the end of the turn, and then all turns will return when a card is removed from your security. Stack, if you have 3 or fewer cards, recover 1. So yeah, it's a very good way of essentially just regenerating security as well as just popping something against the opponent's side of the field, or making it weaker for a turn so they can't fight back. Then we go into the Seraphimon from BT14. For those who don't know, is that when Digivolving, recover 1 deck, and then all turns once per turn, when a card is added to your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7,000 DP, and this Digimon gains security attack for the turn. Very good card, especially you can see here it's just a yellow vaccine deck, so essentially it's just get up as quick as you can, making their life harder, or making your life a little bit easier with all that recovery. Moving over to the other Mega in this deck, a Magnadramon, which has an on-play as well as a when Digivolving effect. By trashing the top or bottom card of your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets a minus 9,000 DP until the end of the turn. Very good for moving things quite quickly. All turns once per turn, when a card is removed from your security stack, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you may place 1 yellow card from your hand at the top or bottom of your security stack. This is obviously a good way to get your cats in there, and obviously makes it a bit more spicy for your opponent if they are trying to deal with stuff as well. Having 2 Merciful Modes in here as well. This is from BT9, just going back a little bit here. Merciful Mode. When Digivolving, for each card with Omega in its traits in this Digimon's Digivolving cards, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon. Then place 10 cards from your opponent's trash at the bottom of their deck in any order. Start of your turn, trash the top card of this Digimon. If you do, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. This here is essentially just a stopping purple from doing purple things. Perfectly reasonable in the current format. I've always wondered how this works though with Merciful Mode, because obviously it just says place 10 cards from your opponent's security trash at the bottom of the deck. I do wonder if it's you get to pick the 10 cards. So I've never had this come up in interaction. I've never had someone use it against me, and I've never had to use it against somebody else. So maybe I would presume you pick the cards, but I'm not 100% sure about that one, to be fair. Then going over to the Emiracy of Hope here. An absolutely busted card that a lot of people do not like, but I can see its uses in this deck as it is for the yellow vaccine variant. Main, search your security stack. One of your Digimon may Digivolve into a yellow Digimon level 6 or lower Digimon card with a vaccine trait amongst them without paying the cost. Then shuffle your security stack. If Digivolved by this effect, and you have a tame with TK Takahashi in its name, recover +1. Very good. It's basically a free search. Check your whole security stack, see if you need to mess around with next things, and then go again following and recovering, which is very good in this deck because, as you can see, Barrier is very effective in this deck. You will be using your security as a lifeline quite often and will help you just survive a little bit longer in the future. Revolution Lights here, running 3 of these things. When an effect trashes this card from your security stack, activate the card's security effect. Main, search your security stack. You may play 1 yellow 4 or lower Digimon card amongst them without paying the cost. Then shuffle your security stack. If you have a tamer card with Kari, its name, place the card on top of your security stack. And then screw all of your opponent's Digimon and screw Digimon get minus 1,000 DP until the end of your turn. Yeah, that's not great to walk into. Then you're going to go for 2 of the physical trainings here, which is just your look at the top 2 cards, take a yellow card, which all your cards are. One might have, sorry, all but 1 card is yellow here, so yeah, you don't want to put these 2 at the bottom, I suppose, if you're playing against yellow. And then you have 4 of the TKs, and you have 2 of the Karis, which, yeah, that sounds about right for the Karis. I'm not a massive fan of this Kari, to be fair. She's okay. When effect trashes the cards from your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus security attack until the end of the turn. So of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, go to 3. She's memory says makes sense. All turns when an effect removes cards from your security stack by suspending this tamer, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus security attack until the end of the turn. So yeah, she's just a slow down the game kind of card, and that's fine. You're allowed to have those kind of cards currently available in the meta. It just makes more sense that you are running freely and not having to be suffocated by the oppressors that are every other colour other than yellow. On play for TK, by returning the top card of your security stack to the hand, you may place 1 yellow card from with vaccine trait from the hand to the bottom of your security stack. And then your turn, when a card is added to your security stack by suspending the tamer, gain 1 memory. Yes, if this thing is played on your turn, so you basically play it out yourself, you get to take the top card of your security, put whatever card you want on top of security, and then gain a memory for doing so. So it's a 2-cost tamer, essentially. Bandai, when will you learn? Yellow players have it too easy. And that is the 14th list. I think it was a pretty cool list. Yellow Vaccine does seem to have a good way around things right now. I'm not 100% sure how aggressive it can be. I do feel it's one of these metas where you need to be very aggressive, but top 14's a very good placing, which I think is a 4-2 record, I think, or a 4-1-1 maybe. I'd have to actually look that up. Going on now to number 13. I will apologise for how this looks. Unfortunately, the cards are very small, and they kind of do like elongate the screen as opposed to being more of a tight fit. But we have the one Yokomon, which seems to be quite common currently in the meta. It makes sense. It's a card that was good before the Koromon came around, and it's still going to be good for this deck now the Koromon is here. Essentially, you're getting 5 swings, and that will probably net you a draw each time. For the Koromons here, this is from BT14. This is the one that when you swing with a red card, you get to draw a card for swinging. 4 of the on play, trash 1, draw 2. So essentially, it's a 2 for 2. So it's an equal trade here. 2 of the searches from BT4, 4 of the searches from BT7, I believe this is, and then 4 Yokomon. Yokomon has been very common in these decks. It makes a lot of sense here. We have 4 of the Agunimons from BT12, 4 of the Burning Greymon from BT12, and then I want to say that's the Burning Greymon from BT4. Off the top of my head, 3 of those things. And then 4 of the Ordamon from BT7, because currently it's the only one that matters. 4 of the Emperor Greymons from BT12, because he is a beat stick and he will beat you down while blowing up something on your opponent's board. 1 Emperor Greymon for Blitz at the end of the game. 1 Omnimon for the additional swing if you need it. And then 3 of the Atomic Infernos to just whittle down your opponent's security as fast as you can. 2 Crimson Blazes, because it's a very good format to remove things and have things awkward that they can't play anymore. 4 Takuyas from BT12, and then 4 Takuyas from BT7, and then 2 U's. I hadn't until today seen many lists running the U's, because I feel like a lot of people just wanted the extra space of other things. So I've been seeing like people running like the extra Burning Grey, and maybe like the 2 Gravity Crushes. That was like normally what I'd be seeing, like something a bit more aggressive on your turn, so you can play more plays. But if it's working for people, I can't complain. 13th place, very good position again. This is like what a 4-1-1. So yeah, congratulations on the 13th place. But fairly standard for Red Hybrid. I don't think there's really a lot of things you can do to innovate Red Hybrid right now until we do get to BT18 in 6 months' time. We get new cards, and then we'll be red purple cards. Yay! Then we have ourselves our 12th place here, T Bruno. I can pronounce that name, so you got your bud. Yeah, no Red Hybrid list. Red Hybrid's obviously very meta right now. I think it took them a long time to get their swing. I think Yokomon's basically been this blessing in disguise that makes Red Hybrid very powerful. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen any Blue Hybrid, but I understand why we might not be seeing Blue Hybrid as well. Yeah, so 1 Yokomon seems to be the common thing here, which I agree with is good as a 1 of. 4 of the Koromon, again, perfectly fine, great baby. And then 4 of the Unplays, which now we get the alternate arts. I can see people wanting to bling out of their deck, if you know what I'm saying. 2 of the BT4s, 4 of the BT7s, 4 Yokomon. Again, this is perfectly standard lineup for what we've been seeing recently for Red Hybrid. 4 of the Unimons from BT12. Same for the Burning Greymons from BT12. 3 of the Burning Greymons from, I believe, BT4. I probably should check this out, but I think it is from there. 3 Ordamons, which I find very strange, because generally I've been noticing that you want to have at least 4 of these, because getting to them is normally what it is. They do have, obviously, the Red Memory Boost here, which is more of a surging thing that you don't normally see in a lot of Red Hybrid these days, but, I appreciate it here. 4 of the Emperor Greymons, which to me seems really tight just having the 4 ofs. I like having the 5th one, and again, I also like having like the 1 Omnimon or 2 Omnimons, just so you can actually like finish the game off. Because if you watch the stream, you will notice there's a few games where like people get stuck at 0 security and they can't swing because they're just stuck for like 2 or 3 turns. 2 Gravity Crushes seems very common for me from what I've seen. 1 Atomic Inferno seems really weird to me. Like, most people run 2 or 3 because they kind of hope that they hit 1 in security and they hit like a tamer in security, and then all of a sudden you've just got this massive beat stick wailing down on you like an idiot that you are. 2 Crimson Blazes, again, perfectly for the format, makes sense to me. 3 of the Red Memory Boosts, I understand it, but I don't agree with it, if that makes sense. That's my opinion. I'm not sure. I don't think I like it. 4 of the Takuyas from BT12, and then 4 of the Takuyas from BT7. Perfect lineup. You always want to see 8 of your tamers. And then 2 Lus, which again, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's because you want to see them in security and they get knocked out, and then you get an egg. I don't really know what's going on there. And then maybe, I really don't know, to be fair. I know it's obviously paired with the Yokomon to make Yokomon a bit more stronger, and obviously if you've got the memory turret, you can churn it out a bit more. You get like an extra egg out, it's an extra swing. I can see it like in my head why it would work. It just seems like it might be a bit bricky. Like, I don't think I saw any games where Red Hybrid was on the screen this weekend and a U came down. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me being weird. But congratulations to Bruno. Congratulations on top 12. You did really well here, bud. So, H. Alexander. This is probably like my favourite deck on this besides what came first. Because you know who I am. Well, if you know who I am, you know why the first place deck is like in my heart. This is in my soul. I love Davers. Like, I hate the fact there's a chance that to max rarity Davers is going to be an event thing like this. Because if you look at what's happening in China, I think it is right now, or Japan, they're doing like a seasonal thing where they just did like Azul Long. Now they're going into Zhonghui, and you get like their minions in alternate R. Luckily, a lot of their minions only run one offs, except the blacks apparently, where you're running three offs, which is like a lot of people said like you maybe run two. So I do think this is a very interesting take on the deck, as well as having access to a tie, which I hadn't seen before. To be fair, normally I see like maybe two get-ins and Analog Youth, or I've seen like Emperor. Did you want Emperor occasionally? Because obviously people are going like, I'm fed up of running into like the Newcomer matchup, and you throw that down turn one, and they go, oh, I can't really afford to spend the 2 memory because you go to 1, and they just don't like that. Which perfectly agree. But 4 D-Mothers makes sense in here, and I have to check the list before I start saying things. 2 of the Alliance Antilemons. Perfection. Having Alliance in this deck makes it go so quickly. Because if you play any of these to the field, and this gets to go into the breeding area, and then you go up into your level 6 the following turn, and you just somehow die and got an Analog Youth from the field, oh no, I've got a source, and now I get to flip out an egg. It's a good deck. Like, it really is a good deck. And then obviously getting lets you push out at level 5 as well, and then you can ace into one of these. Very interesting. But we're going to go through it. So 2 of the Indiramon, 2 of the Sandira, 1 of the Pajira, 1 of the Mahira. I don't like the blue. Like, I understand why it's here because it's technically the only blue card. I don't particularly like it. I prefer the green one, but I think in this case it's better to have this as like a draw option, and as well as just having it here just to be a bit more useful, as it is your only blue option card currently available on this field. Then we go into the EX4 Antilemon. Fantastic card, a great card. If I could figure out how to use this in every single deck, I generally would, because it is just so very good. It's also one of these decks as well that lets you cheat the Alliance, which makes it so much better as well. So, a lot of people out there who were giving this deck a bit of like a kick in. It's a lot better than a lot of people think. Like, you have to learn the deck, you have to play it a little bit more, you have to hope, and you have to get your good draws in as well. But like, no, the deck is very good at just going like, nah, I'm okay, thanks. I'm gonna run 1 of the Vajiramon. There is another Vajiramon. I would like, it's just a vanilla, I don't run it. Obviously this is much better. Having 1 of the Vikalamon, the cool boar. He's so cool. He's essentially you basically alliance with this one. If your opponent blocks, it kills it, he unsuspends, so you get to swing again for free. Obviously your opponent's like, I don't care because you didn't hit me with the 14k thing for 2 hits. But having access to something that can just unsuspend and then just carry on is very good and interesting in my opinion. We also run 1 of the Kambariumon, which is if your opponent's Digimon goes suspend, you get to draw a card, which again, if you are using this for Alliance, and your opponent has to block or wants to block because they're worried about taking 2 hits, then obviously they'll suspend because they're blocking, and then they'll just you get a free draw. It's pretty good. And possibly a dead body on their side of the field. Now, this is the interesting part. I think Sandir, I've been looking at these playing like 1-offs, and then occasionally maybe 2-offs, and then you play like 2 monkeys and then 2 cats. So I'm quite happy to see that people are like figuring out the ratios and how the deck's working. So Sindoramon is the decoy for the deck for either Davers or the Sovereigns. It would be kind of interesting if it did have like an undeletion trait, but obviously probably a bit too much with decoy because it'd be, fairly broken to be fair, especially if it was a very good trait. Katora has blocker, and then on play, obviously, the draw 1 card, and then you may play a David to the breeding area out of space, which is normal, and then it gives blocker 2 inherited. And then we also have the bestest boy, the monkey, which is on play draw, and then opponent's turn, all of your opponent's tamers with play cost of 2 or less can't suspend. Hey, that analog youth is looking pretty too costy. So yeah, a lot of this is very good into like Lug at the moment. And then if decks are running Callboy, which I don't think many decks are, to be fair, would be very good into them. But for the most part, it is essentially an analog youth slowing down key moment here. Then we just go up into the Megas. So Junquai, 3 of, fantastic, makes sense. He's kind of like your burn and toss kind of card. Azul here, very powerful, very interesting card. I love him, I think it's fantastic. Get the auto if you can, because it's just a big noodle. On play, when Digimon return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon cards to the hand, then you'll spend one of your Digimon with the Deva 4 Great Dragons or 4 Sovereign Traits. Then on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. So yeah, he's just a deterrent to not be removed from the field, and he is just a big wet noodle. He's pretty cool, to be fair. I do like him. Genbu, great card as well. A lot of people do sit on Genbu as if he's not a functioning creature here. On play, when Digivolving, for each of your Digimon with Deva or 4 Sovereign Traits, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then during your opponent's next sentence, suspend phase, all these Digimon can't suspend. On deletion, delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon, which will probably be something on the following turn. Because you don't want crashing, screwing, and dying. I know you're going to lose a lot of memory to your opponent, but at the same time, you're taking something down with you, and that just upsets a lot of people, to be fair. And then we finally have Bahau, everyone's favourite kitty cat, which is just opponent's turn. When a security is checked, if the card is a Digimon with Deva traits, play it out, battling, and then without paying the cost. Obviously, even though you do have like the traits in your option cards, you don't get to play them. They just go back to hand as far as well. Unless they obviously say play. Then on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost, which can be quite interesting if your opponent thought they were being cheeky by giving you a DP reduction and gaining. Oh, I'm going to get some memory. It's like, yeah, but all your board's clear and you can't really do anything about it now. And that does get to people. You'd be surprised how many people get very confused by that. As we already noticed here, we got Fenlong 4 of, because it's a Fenlong deck essentially. On play, when attacking, by returning up to 4 cards with the Deva or 4 Sovereign Traits from the trash to the bottom of the deck. For each one, all your opponent's Digimon get minus 4,000 DP for the turn. If you thought Shine was pretty good, this guy's even better. When attacking, for each of your Digimon with the 4 Sovereign Traits, trash the top card of your opponent's Curious deck. All turns, if this Digimon isn't affected by any effects of your opponent's Digimon. Very, very good. Yeah, if you can somehow get this up and then have like the other 4 sovereigns around you, you essentially just wipe the board and go like, oh look, you don't have any security, I guess I win. Great card, fantastic card. Obviously, the deck feels like it can be slow, but sometimes it can go super quick. It does just depend how lucky you are with like what your opening hand is and what memory your opponent gives you, because some people forget and just give you a load of memory and go like, alright, I guess I get to do everything I want this turn. We do also run 2 of the Shine Grey ones. I think this is just here for more like needed assistance in aggro. Obviously, it can digivolve on top of all of your level 6s, which obviously makes it such a great card because they're either got purple or yellow in their secondary colours, making it such a good level 7 as a secondary option. And to be fair, the deck does have a lot of room for tech options, so it makes sense that you would run this as well. Running 1 of the structure deck ties. This is because when all turns, if you go to block, you get to draw a card and then gain 2,000 DP, which is really good. So it's when an opponent's when stick is redirected, so when you block, you redirect. One of the gains here to get your level 5s out of the breeding area, and then they can go into the ace monsters to cause havoc on your opponent's turn. 4 of the analog youth. This is for your trash setup. Makes a lot of sense. Get the one card that you need or the one card that you think is more useful. Put the other names in the trash and go from there. 4 of the loyalty deeper than the sea. This is just your searcher card. Reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Place 1 card with a Deva or 4 soft traits amongst them as the bottom delusion card of one of your Digimon, or add it to your hand. Return the rest to the top or bottom of the deck. It's really good. Obviously, it's a name that you already have. You don't want to see against. Let's just say you've got an Antela on the field and you draw an Antela, maybe a monkey and a pig, and you go, I either need a pig or a monkey. I'm going to put the Antela to the bottom, I don't mind, and then I'll put the monkey underneath and so it gets blocker. That is fairly good in my opinion. Obviously, then it gives you a source, which helps with the analog youth putting out more mothers on the field. Then we play 4 of the Holy Beast Great Cardinal positions, which is, if you didn't know what they're based upon, Genbu of the Genbu Black Turtle of the North, Byaku of the West, Suryu of the East, I think it is, and then the Phoenix of the South. I think that's what it is. It's been a long time. I haven't played Final Fantasy VII for a very long time. And then while you have a Digimon of Deva or Sovereigns, you can ignore its colour requirements, and then when this card is used, reduce the cost by 1 for each Deva and Sovereign traits with different names in your trash. And then you may play 1 Digimon card with Fenlong in its name from your hand without paying the cost. Cost 12, reduce it by 12 if there's 12 different names in there, which, you know, there could be. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different targets you do put 2 in the trash every time you do analog youth. There's a good chance you can get this out super early if you are playing well, or if your opponent's trying to mill you out if you're playing against some kind of Calamon deck that has the mill options. Security, return one of your cards with Fenlong in its name from the trash on hand, and then add this card to hand. So, yeah, very good. Congratulations again on a 11th place there, Mr. Alexander. Now, I'm going to butcher this now, I do apologise. N. Deutschen. Congratulations, 10th place here, done really well. Lugamon list. A little bit of an unusual Lugamon list, I have to say. I don't normally see 8 rookies. This makes me feel like Fenton 2G was playing in this deck, because Mr. Fenton likes to run like as little rookies as possible. They like the edging of the rookies. So 4 bow, perfectly fine for now. When we get to BT17, we might change what rookies we want. But for now, perfect rookies. Perfect in training. Rookies, though, 4 Luger, as we see in BT14 and BT15. I think that's very tight for a list, but maybe it's just me. 1 Fangmon, 4 of the Lugamon, 2 of the Lugamon from BT15. Then we have 2 of the Keycats, best Keycats in the game. 3 of the Trinomons. A lot of people say this is a lot of Trinomons. I'm not too sure. I like 1 of at least, maybe 2 of. So maybe we could drop 1 and then maybe add another rookie. But they got 10th place. I don't know anything. Good on them. 4 of the Helluga, which I always feel is too many. I like 3 and 4. But they got 10th place, so what do I know? Soul Lugamon. 4 of very good, because obviously it's basically your key combo piece to pivot into into level 5 into the level 6. 2 of the Chimeras. Again, 2 or 3 is where I normally see people play this, so 2 should be fine. And then 4 of your Fenrir Lugamons. Mwah! The best card in the deck, just causing all the mayhem. 3 of the Purple Memory Boost. Like I've said before, I do prefer Mist Memory over Purple Memory Boost. I can understand the theory for this and why you want something a bit more safer, but to be fair, trash everything. 4 Wisdom Trainings. Makes sense, it's exactly what you want. Look at the top 2 cards. If it's purple, add 1 to hand, put 1 to the bottom of the deck. 4 EGs, 1 Mat from the structure deck, from the ST16 structure deck, if you want to know which one it was specifically. 4 the Analog Youths. Perfect Lugamon deck, no issues here. I've even tried the Mat stuff before. It does work, to be fair, and it will like occasionally upset your opponent when you trash something and you say, oh, it's my turn again. But no, congratulations on 9th place. 9th place to P. Stefan. Congratulations on 9th place. I don't know if he was on stream. You may have been on stream, to be fair. They're running just the 4 eggs, 4 of the Caramon. I feel like most people know if they need the 5th egg, and I think the people who were running 5 eggs were having that situation where they were going to that turn like 5 or 6 where they were getting there and be like, I just need the extra baby, because there's the amount of times I get to there and I can't swing from the breeding area is getting to me. So it makes sense to me. This person obviously didn't have any issues, and obviously coming in at 9th place, you know, they knew what they were doing. 4 of the Throw It Down, Beat 'em Down. 2 of the Gutsummon. I think this is one from BT14. All turns players can't play Digimon by effects. Actually really good. I think the only thing we're now missing from Red is the memory stuff, which I don't think we'll ever get, to be fair. But it is cool that we do have it. 2 of the BT4 Flamons for the searches. 4 of the ones from BT7. 4 of the Ukamons, because obviously it's just such a fantastic creature. It's just going to be rushing down things for the love of it, and for the sake of it, to be fair. Then we have 4 of the Goodymons from BT12. 4 of the Burnings from BT12. No, I don't know why I thought it was BT4. BT7. The BT4 is actually really cool looking. BT7. Again, I don't know what I've been saying BT4 for. 4 of the older ones, which again seems perfectly fine to me. The person who played 3 off, it seemed like you were trying to like min-max, and it may have worked. I just feel like it's not very safe. Again, this person is only running the 4 of the Emperor. If this is the person that was on stream that I kept saying just needs to play the Emperor, this could have been the reason why they weren't playing Emperor, because they just didn't have enough high levels to roll into an Emperor, maybe. No shade, just obviously I think 4 is too little. I think you do need the 5th one, just to have it, kind of thing. 2 Gravity Crush seems normal to me. 2 of the Infernos, again, 2 or 3 seems what it wants to be, but people are now running the Crimson as an option for this format. Again, you got to do what you got to do, and Crimson is fine. And then both of the TQs. This is what I was saying earlier. I don't see a lot of Lu, and it makes sense that you only want to run 8 of these, because 8's plenty. The other 2 just seems a bit tight. But I can understand. Like, you obviously play the Lu, you can push out the Ukamon early because it comes out. You can tap both. You can tap the Lu to gain a memory. You gain a memory from the Ukamon, and you can play another egg, I believe. So I understand that the logistics of it, but it just doesn't seem like it's it gels too well. But again, those people did very well, and it's not onto me. Congratulations on Stefan again for 9th place. So, 8th place goes to El Daniel, but they're a stinky cheater. No, they're not cheater. Apparently, this comes from their friends list, which is from Yondi TCG Corner. I'll put their link in the bottom in the description here if you want to go check them out. I'm going to say this now, I've not checked them out myself. I'm not endorsing this person in case they turn out to be a crisis actor or whatever, but if they're a good person, go check them out, have some fun. They looks like they do a lot of different TCGs. Just go have fun, man. But apparently, Daniel did incredible. I think we saw Daniel in one of the rounds, maybe, because the list looks somewhat familiar, but I don't know if someone else was in the same list. But we'll go over it in a second. So, Sudamon here, which I think is the EX4 one? Yeah, the EX4 Sudamon. Once per turn, when one of your other Digimon digivolves, draw a card, which makes sense after like turn 2, because you do a little bit of digivolving and you obviously generally throw things down the field. Makes sense. You've got 3 of the Tumons, which is the memory stoppers, 3 of the Chikaru, which I think is the you can't play things one. Yeah, Chikaru from the structure deck 13, which is the players can't reduce play costs, which is fairly good. Only thing this really works against, I feel like my brain could be going dead here, and I'm just basically ignoring a full situation here, is like Hunters. Obviously, we saw a Hunters game like the first round, and then like Blue Flare, which I think we also saw second or first round. Ukamon again is basically much in every deck that can fit to afford it in. Then we have 4 of the Girimon or Jirimon, draws against the Numon, 2 of the Numons from BT14, 4 of the Numon X antibodies, which I believe is from BT15, and it makes sense because obviously this is basically just a Numon deck. It's a Numon pile. Yeah, Numon X antibody from BT15, just all turns while Numon or X antibody is in this Digimon's delusion cards. It gains on deletion. You may play one Digimon card with Numon in its name from the trash without paying the cost, which is why it's a very good card because it does just churn out a lot of advantage. And on deletion, you may play one Digimon card with Numon in its name from the trash without paying the cost. Pretty good heritage effect. Obviously, at 2000 DP, it's kind of wanting to throw itself to its own doom. But obviously, if you do have a Numon in name or a Numon on the field, it then will just throw itself into the bus and have itself a grand old time. Because essentially, it's the Numon deck, and they're all called Numon. Numon. After the Numon X antibody, we have ourselves the BT15 Gerimon, which is on play on deletion by trashing one card with Numon or Sukamon in its name. In your hand, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1 to the end of the turn. Also treat it as a Numon though, which makes sense for the deck. Then when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus security attack until the end of their turn. Again, pretty good in the deck that wants to slow down your opponent as much as possible. And then we have access to a Numon here from RB1. On deletion, real top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Montimon in its name and 1 card with Numon in its name and to the hand. Place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. The opponent's turn, while this Digimon has Montimon or Numon in its name, it gains blocker. You run 3 of these, which is a good choice because you do have a few Montimons here to be fair. You are running, including the X antibody, 9, so that's a good number in my opinion. So you got access to blocker fairly easily, in my opinion. T15 Weru Montimon. On play, when digivolving by trashing 1 card with Numon in its name in your hand, or this Digimon's digivolution cards, de-digivolve 1 of your opponent's Digimon, and then on play by placing 1 card with Numon in its name from the trash as this Digimon's bottom digivolution card until the end of your opponent's turn. None of their Digimon with play cost 5 or less can attack. Pretty darn good, especially if you are playing into a Ukamon game, to be fair. And then your turn, whilst Digimon has Montimon or Numon in its name against security attack +1, helps you push down the game a little bit quicker. Then we play 1 Chimera. We can see what this is for. If you somehow do have 2 greasy boys on the field, you can then go into a Numon and swing a little bit harder, or at least maybe even for game. They run 4 of the Montimon X antibody, which is when digivolving, you have a card with Montimon is in this name or X antibody in this Digimon's distribution cards. You may play 1 Numon or 1 level 3 Digimon card from the hand without paying the cost. All turns once per turn. When one of your other Digimon is played, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for each of your Digimon until the end of their turn. Which is obviously fairly good. Very good to slow down your opponents, especially if they are got little weenies on the field. Very good actually into the mirror match as well. On play, by placing 1 Digimon card with Numon in its name from the trash as this Digimon's bottom digital card, gain 2 memory. And on play, when digivolving, if one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP and security attack -1 until the end of the turn. And then if you've got Montimon or Numon in its name, it gains security attack +1 as an inherited effect. Pretty good. Like you can see, running 4 of the platinums here, which is unplay when digivolving by trashing 1 card with Numon in its name in your hand, gain 2 memory. Then on deletion, you may play a 1 over 5 or lower Digimon card with Numon or 1 to 1 in its name from your hand without paying the cost, which is pretty darn good if you ask me. Playing 4 of these, playing 2 Venus as well, which is when digivolving, all of your opponent's Digimon get minus security attack +1 to the end of the opponent's turn, and then opponent's turn, all of your opponent's Digimon with security attack up or down can't attack this Digimon and can't activate when attacking or when digivolving effects. For those of you who don't know, Digimon has it so you have both keywords. If you've got security attack +1 and then security attack -1, you don't just get 0 security attack, you get security attack 1 and -1, because that's how it works. I don't like how that works, but I understand it, and it's played by their rules. 2 Shine Grey ones, again, this is essentially just to keep your opponents down where they can, or just trying to reduce the effectiveness of the plays. I understand exactly why Shine Grey one's here. Very good card, very impressive card. Keep your opponents down when they can. 2 are the prototypes to help digivolve up into the X-Entity form, I believe. Either or, to be fair. And then 1 of the Heaven's Judgments here, which is normally you use it in a green deck, and it lets you basically ignore its requirements as a tamer or a green deck. Activate the effect below for each colour your Digimon have. Activate its effect. One of your opponent's Digimon gets 6,000 DP for the turn. Obviously very good in this because you do run things that have 2 colours, so you can have a Platinum on the field, Platinum will shine on the field, and then essentially giving something minus 12,000 DP, and that would make things a little bit easier. You can actually have up to 4 different colours here, so you are just raining down Thunder and Lightning on top of all your opponents, and then from security it just gives you minus 12,000 DP for the turn. It's a fairly good effect. Then they're going to run 2 of the Satsukis, the Psyops from BT14. This is because you run the BT14 Numon, so you do get a chance to have Rush on the field for a very cheap cost of 3. Fantastic card, makes a lot of sense. And then 2 of the original TKs from, I believe, BT1, which is on play, search your security stack. If you find a yellow card, reveal it, recover 1, and then shuffle your cards back in. Congratulations to L. Daniel here. Hope you enjoy yourselves and enjoy that top 8 pricing, good sir. So, W. Tyler, welcome to the top 8, number 7th here. I feel like we saw this deck, or at least someone played this deck at some point during the tournament. And I'm not 100% sure what's going on, because I've been seeing a lot of talk about Muchamon over Twitter, sort of like during last week. And people were saying like, oh, Rookie Rush is back, it's doing really well, it's kicking doors down, you know, it's showing up and it's taking names and all this and the other. But we got 1 of the Pinomons, I believe it is, and then 4 of the Coromons. Makes sense because you've got these are basically your attackers early on. Yeah, then you got 4 of the Muchos, which is, I believe, your turn once per turn. When a red Digimon attacks, you can draw a card. Guilmon is when you attack, you draw a card. And then this is just the Art Ukamon, which is essentially move it out of the breeding area, hatch an egg, gain a memory, might as well swing with it kind of thing. And then 4 Jerry's, 3 of the Satsuki Numons that we've just seen in the other list, 4 of the X-Antibodies, 3 of the RB1s, 2 of the Werus, 4 of the X-Antibody, 4 of the very expensive Cuddly Bears, 3 of the Platinums, 1 Defex. Okay, alright. I suppose if you're going to get a really big board, but I feel like a lot of places, if you have a big board already, you're just probably going to lose. So, I don't know. This obviously come up in testing. They've got 7 players, what do I know? 1 of the Mercy modes, again, the opportunity is more for yellow, and it's generally quite easy to get up into your Platinum quite quickly if you do need to go into Mercy just to help with maybe the Leviathan matchup more than anything else. 2 Crimson Blazes, which makes sense because you are running your egg package essentially as red. Makes sense here. 3 Satsukis because you really want to get that rush going when you can, and it just matches 3 for 3. Makes sense. 2 Digi Emperors, which does come up because essentially you are just trying to slow down your opponent from doing the same thing that you're doing to them. And then 2 U's because, again, on play, move out the breeding area, and then because Yokamon comes out, put another egg in, gain 2 memory. It's a fairly simple, basically for a cost of 1, you get to push an egg out and then like rehatch an egg. Good plan, good idea, I like it. In this deck, it kind of makes sense because you just want to constantly have an egg available or a red source going because you need to have access to Crimson plays probably at some point. Again, W. Tyler, congratulations on 7th place. So, V. Maximilian, I don't know why you did this, but you sent this in upside down. Don't do that again. I had to work slightly harder for you, and by harder I mean I had to turn an image upside down. You have no idea of the stress it took on me to turn it to an image. So, Numon, people like Numon right now, and I understand it's a very good deck. It's very powerful. It's doing its thing. It's interesting to see the slime being interesting because this was a joke like 2 years ago that one day Numon would rule the game, and you're not far off, to be fair. So I'm trying to figure out where the babies are. There you go. So sorry, baby at the top. So they ran one Tokamon, which I think is the one from EX5. I think it's from EX5. And then they run 4 of the Sudamons from EX4, which seems to be the constant thing here. I'm going to be honest now. Black, like, in training babies, like, they just don't seem to print any good ones. I don't know what's the issue with them. They don't seem to just print, like, a generically good one. Red, fantastically, there's, like, 3 or 4 good ones. Blue, like, 3 or 4 good ones. Green, like, 2 or 3 good ones. Yellow, like, depending on how you want to run the deck, 2 or 3 good ones. Purple, there's, like, 2 good ones. Maybe 3. And then you come to black, it's like, we have nothing. We just don't have one good baby that's generically good. Makes sense in this deck, but, like, in a lot of decks, like, it only really works in Omnimon Ultira S, essentially, because it's obviously ping-ponging along the Digivolution lines. But let's jump into card by card. We got here 4 of the Tumons again for memory control, 4 of the Ukamons for essentially swinging down and beating someone in the shins, 1 of the coverage play costs Chikuchimon, 1 of the Agamons from the structure deck, I believe this is, 1 Pillarmon to stop things from being played. I believe that was what we spoke about earlier. 1 of the, which is going from the bottom top. 1 of the, you can't see it's behind my chair. I don't know if I can move it so you can see it. I don't think you can because I can't move enough here. It's a Heaven's Judgment. Again, it's just whatever colours you have on the field. For every colour, do minus 6,000 DP to a Digimon. Your opponent's on the field. 1 of the prototypes in alternate art, just to be a little bit fancy. 3 of the RB1 Numons. 3 of the BT14 Numons. 4 of the X-Antibody, which seems to be a very common trend here. 4 of the Jerrys. 4 of the very expensive Cuddly Bears. 4 of the X-Antibody Cuddly Bears. 3 of the Werumonzimon Bears, which I think is the most Werumonzi we've seen so far. 1 Satsuki, which I understand that you're probably only really running these new ones here as like swing for game kind of thing, so you only really need the one for rush. But it does look a little bit tight in terms of that. 2 Emperors, again, if you're following the mirror match or anything that you think is going to have like a Yukamon sort of throwing itself out and like fighting thing, having to pay the 2 to get the Yukamon out is going to be, you know, quite a detriment. Technically, they're only paying 1, but you know what I mean. 1 U, again, I think this is more because it's a bit tight of a list. But again, you would probably only want the 1 anyway. You need to see the 1, get the 1 down. Make it work. Again, 6th place, so what do I know? They obviously did very well. I think this is the person that was in the finals with Henny, or like round 4 with Henny, because I remember them being Mac. 3 of the Platinums, 2 of the Venus, 1 Azur Long, 2 shiny Rune Modes, and yeah, solid list in all fairness. I'm just not too sure about this here. I don't know if it's more like it just comes up occasionally, and it's nice to have one of each just so you can kind of pivot your plays. Again, not really had much chance to play this deck. Unfortunately, I didn't pick up the Monzimons where I had the chance to pick up a playset for £6 because like I'm not going to get a chance to play it. I'm not going to need them, and now a playset's like £60. So yeah, I don't need to play this deck. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Right, let's go on to number 5. So this is from, I think, Joldus Erdom or Yoldus Erdom. The name of this deck is Yellow Hybrid Marcus. I don't like that name. 4 of the BT14 Caramon, and then 1 of the, is that BT12 Caramon? Yeah, BT12 Caramon. For those of you who don't know what BT12 Caramon does, it is your turn. Once per turn, when one of your yellow or red teams becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1,000 DP for the turn. In a deck like this, where you are going to be just basically giving some constant minus DP reduction, that 1,000 could actually be a difference between killing something and not killing something. So I understand why it's here in the deck, and also your rookies are going to just Digivolve off it anyway, because they Digivolve for free off Caramon. Although, they both Digivolve for 1 as well, and sometimes you want to choke your opponent, so it makes sense, that sounds weird, to do this as well. Then we have 4 Agumon. I believe this is from BT13? I want to say it's 13 because it's got Galmon in the background there. And then this is from EX4, right? I was right, this is it. So yeah, so EX4. This one is sort of main phase. You gain a memory if you got a red or yellow tamer on the field. Obviously, if you look at this deck, there's got to be one on the field somewhere. And then the other one here, which I was confused by, well, I was right, is also BT13, because obviously the Gamma was there. And then main one's per turn. For the turn, one of your Monkeys can be turned into a 3000 DP but can't Digivolve. Because you're running the one that wants to swing so you can Digivolve, because you do run a Greymon name at least once, you could go up to that Greymon, especially if you have seen what's in your security stack with the TKFX to kind of like fish for more Tamers. But you probably are going to swing the other one anyway, because when it gets suspended, you can get some other shenanigans going as well. Rest of the deck though, Geogramon, like I said, this just basically you look at your security. If there's a tamer in there, you can play for free, then recover and shovel. And then you've got your cheap hybrid options. So they're not iron. You got your 2 of Kazis, you got your 4 Cephas, then you got these pain in the asses here. Your recovery options essentially. God damn, I hate these things. You'll be punished one day, I tell you. You'll be punished one day. One of the Jet Sulfy. The reason why is because it is limited to 1 anyway. But you are running 6 level 5s. 1 Shadow Sephiroth and 2 Venuses. For those of you who don't know what Mr. Sephiroth does. So, Shadow Seraphimon. Opponent's turn, when a card is removed from your security, stack DG of one of your opponent's Digimon. And then, on deletion, recover +1. And then, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4000 DP for the turn for each card in your security stack. So, generally what happens here, which is quite annoying, is obviously your top end normally has all the plus security attack. It hits for 1, you get DD evolved. They will then sometimes get popped because that's how it works, depending on what you're playing against. Because you've then got like 5 security or whatever, you just destroy basically anything, because it's minus 4000 per security card, and that's 20,000 DP reduction basically. So yeah, most things are dead unless you do have can't be DP reduced, which is some cards. Venus again, because it's a slowing down deck. You don't want to get punched because you want to swing with this, and then they can't swing into you because they've got minus security. 2 Crimson Modes, again, it's just good into the meta right now. Trident, I'm not sure what Trident's here. Not in a rude way. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. If the Digimon with 30,000 more DP is deleted, by its effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Oh, there you go then. Yeah, it's a way for them to remove some security. It does cost 8 though, so it is a very expensive card. And then final showdown here. Main, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 12,000 DP until the end of the opponent's turn. Then you may play one Marcus Damon, sorry, not a specific colour of Marcus Damon itself, from the hand without paying the cost. So, yeah, I can see this here. Obviously, you're running 7 Marcuses. No, you're running 6 Marcuses. So it makes sense that you would be wanting to throw down, if you know what I mean. Then we have 2 Resolutions of Light that we've seen earlier, which is another pain in the ass card. 4 Shining Burst, I think this is. Shining Blast, sorry. Main, you may play 1 Marcus Damon from your hand without paying the cost. Then for each yellow and or red tamer you have in play, 3 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 2000 DP each for the turn. So yeah, if you've got 10 tamers down, because this deck runs more than 10 tamers, it runs 13, there's a good chance that all of those 3 Digimon have just been removed from the game, and yeah, you just got to deal with it. So that is why this is here. Actually very good if it's a tamer heavy game. And then last but not least, we do have one of the Sunrise Tridents, which is what I was trying to explain earlier, which I believe is from like BT9. I want to say it's from BT9, and it's again play a yellow or red tamer from your hand, and then for each one, I think it's like one Digimon gets minus 3000 DP or 4000 DP for each one on the field. Again, very good card, very egregious when trying to build against it. But no, if I was a person that wasn't so against yellow hybrid, or basically this is just some kind of like DP control, I'd probably like the deck more. But congratulations on 5th place, and I'm happy I didn't have to see this on stream. This is the weirdest looking deck we've got here because it goes off Digimon Card Dev. I don't know what this version of Digimon Card Dev is. I've never seen like the single cards before. But yeah, we've got Tsunamon. This is a bit of a different build. I've not seen this one before, and they came 4th. So Stefano Lipari, I think we saw them on stream. I remember Lipari being on stream at some point. This looks really cool. Using the Doraemon engine with Yukamon as all your rookies, and then you got the Jerrys. Using Suomon, which is really cool. Then using Numon from BT14, the new X antibody from BT15, 4 of the Werumonzimons, 4 of the Werumonzimons from BT 15 as well, yeah, both from BT15, 4 of the Monzimons from RB1, 4 of the Platinum Numons, 2 of the Venuses, 1 Shin Monzimon, and then one of the Shine room modes, and then one mercenary mode. This deck was basically built in a sense of like, I want to play. You can't see my hand. I want to play all of the new mod names, and then I want to have something basically for everything else. I want something for Purple Hate. I want something that just messes my opponent's stuff to slow it down. I just want to be annoying and have like lots of attack because yeah, sometimes you need to. And then we've got two Sasukis because she's just essentially here to make Numon go rush, and then two of the Lus essentially just to keep churning out your breeding area, which again is perfectly fine. I am wondering how much security control was here in this format, because I do feel like a lot of security control would just essentially burn out a lot of this stuff and then have issues. Because what we've seen, a lot of the other decks are essentially running Merciful Mode 4 Trash Hate, and to be fair, New Money's kind of a trash heavy deck, so it makes sense that if they were thinking there'd be a lot of those in the format, they would be seeing a lot of these. But congratulations, top 4, Stefano. You did really well here, and the list is actually really interesting, so I think we've seen something different. Probably the best looking presentation we've got so far today. This is from our third place, which was Alicia Disco. We saw them on stream, I think, at least once. They were playing, as you can see, Levimon. So we got 4 Sunamon, very simple, you know, I think it's treasure card, draw a card. Got 4 Goblinmon, 3 of the Gizemon, which, having looked at a lot of these lists, like action that I can see like deck list submissions, not many people were running the Gizemon, but I think it makes sense in the deck because you do want to have, and I did say this during the stream, both the messing with your opponent's stuff and then messing with your own stuff, which is what like, the Labra's here for, and the Doba. Gazzy makes sense again, it's just memory manipulation, stopping your opponents from gaining memory where you can still play the game. Labra's here just to gain draws and put in trash and just being a pain, to be fair. Raymon, again, I think a lot of people are putting a lot of pressure on the Raymon to be good, and it's a case of like, it's coming up and it's doing things, but I don't think it's like I don't think I remember seeing a Raymon in any of the games that we saw a Levimon in, or over the like watching a few matches. Levimon didn't really just. Raymon just didn't come up. Obviously, it's a one-off. You got to draw it. You got to find it. One of Grewmon X Antibody again because it's limited to 1. Dobemon X Antibody at 4. Grew at 4. Dracu at 2, which is a bit different. Cerberus X Antibody at 4, which makes sense because you want to go over the Doba. And then 3 of the X Antibody for Levia. 3 Levia. 2 Shining Greymons. 3 of the 7th Lightning. 2 Pepperoos. 4 of the Wisdom in trainings, and then 4 of them things of the Prototype X Antibodies, which, to be fair, pretty makes this one of the most expensive decks currently in the format, because these are like 60 quid for the playset. These are like 45. These are like 30 something. Shines are like at this moment in time like 70 each. So if you want to play a good purple deck, you're paying for it right now. Purple tax, everyone, purple tax. But congratulations on third place, Alicia. I have never seen someone physically write a list like this if I wasn't in a store event. No offense to Stefan. This isn't a dig. This is just different. And big up to you, to be fair, because not everyone does this. It's going to make things a bit harder for you, so you have to imagine now. But we do have the BT number in there too, so it's even better for me. So yeah, this was put on Friday. So for the flame ones from BT12, the on-play ones, treasure card, draw 2, essentially go neutral. 4 of the BT7 ones, this is your searcher. You can either search for the Q, or you can search for a hybrid / 10 warriors. You're searching for hybrids, there's no 10 warriors in these decks anymore. 2 flames from BT4, searching for both a tamer and a hybrid name. For the Ukamons, again, just throwing this onto your breeding area, moving out, swing, memory gain, hatch an egg, do hopefully the same thing again, following turn, roll. You know what we're doing here. 3 of the Burning Grey ones, BT7. This is the one I keep saying was BT4. BT7, good one, gives you that DP increase and can burn your opponent's little weak things off the field. 4 of the Burning Grey ones from BT12. 4 of the Agunimons from BT12. 4 of the Aldermons from BT7, because it's the only good one currently. We will be getting a better one. No, not better. We'll be getting one just as good in the near future, but you're only going to probably run that as one of if you want to run a 5th Alder in name only. 1 Garudamon Ace, which is interesting. I don't dislike it. It's interesting, but it helps remove things from the field that are going to swing into your security that are very low. 4 of the Emperor Greymons from BT12, and then 1 of the BT5 Omnimons, which is the Unsuspended Blitz ones. Running 4 of the Koromon, and then 1 of the Yokomon. Again, what I said earlier when we saw the other lists, This is probably people who are getting to the point where they're having to slowly chip into security, and they're basically rushing through all their stuff, and maybe it's like into security control, where they're obviously recovering, and they're having to basically keep pushing through, which makes sense. Running 4 of both of the Takuyas, again, perfectly fine. It's exactly what you want to see in Red Hybrid, because it's all they really need. And then we're going to go up into the option cards here. No notes though, but because it's been like have a great day or something like that. 3 of the Atomic Infernos, again, 2 or 3 is normally what you see in these lists. Seeing the one off is very, doesn't feel right. 2 Blazing Crimson Blazes, again, meta for it. Lots of things that are really weak and squishy. Lots of people throwing things constantly everywhere. Lots of on-play effects, really good. And then Gravity Crush for 2. Again, this is just so you guys can just put a little bit more in, and then probably try and just push for game, or just try and make it so your opponent doesn't get to really do too much. Obviously, if you go to 1 on their turn, they get a 3, and if they've already got a memory setter out, like it ain't no different. You know what I mean? But it gave you 2 extra memory, and that is second place here. Thank you very much. I believe it was Stefan Wynard. And now we go to our first place, Henny He. The absolute Chad that woke up, grabbed the last ticket that was available that morning, because we had 2 cancellations before 9 AM, and they essentially just went. By the way, I'm talking over this and you get to see this. You can see what I actually do to make these videos palatable. I say palatable. Watchable. How are we doing this? Press control. We go, go, go. There we go, go, go. There we go. So for you guys who didn't know, Galatmon won the regional yesterday. Look. EU is a proper region with real rules, and sometimes the best deck in the room is the one you've been wanting to win for 15 sets. Galatmon hasn't won anything since the pre-release event at Christmas, like in 2020. So, for those of you who've been waiting just as long as I have, Henny did it. Henny broke the game. Now we can just shut it down. Galatmon has won. I don't know what to say. So, they're running 4 of the Gigis from BT12. I mean, it's a beautiful card, I understand why. I think the issue for a lot of people, though, is they like the draw power more, and haven't really got that mindset that the draw power is good. I think it's interesting here. You do get the extra DP destruction, essentially, with this card. 2 of the Guilmons from BT12. This is to find your Takato, top 4 ones. Then just basically, if you somehow on-play this and find 4 Takatos, you now own 4 Takatos in your hand. 2 of the X antibodies. This one's just to pop something that's small, and then to give more increase of DP explosions in its sources. The search you want to play for this, because it's the only search you really have in terms of this. And then this Guilmon here is, I think it's draw 1 if something gets destroyed on one of your opponents. When it's destroyed, draw a card. And then it also can warp into a Galatmon from 3 to this for, I believe, a cost of 4. And if your opponent has level 6. And then 1 of the Rush, because occasionally you'll have enough memory to do this, and you might as well just throw it down and swing for game. 4 of the Groundmons from BT12. This lets you play a Takato for free, and then it also increases your amount of DP explosiveness by another, I think it's 2,000. And then the Black Groundmon from EX4, and this is here. It's basically milling stuff out, mills your opponent out, and then you can bring back a name, I believe it is, and then you can also do the same thing in its deletion effects. War Groundmon from EX3. EX is wrong now. EX3 here. This one allows for the when digivolving, you can mill the top 3 cards of your deck, and then as long as one of you has 5 cards in the trash, you can then either play a Guilmon or a Takato for free. Lots of decks currently making trash very easy, so it's very easy to get to 5 right now. And then if you do go black into war, there is a good chance that you're going to mill the 2 and then mill the 5. 3, it's making 5, and then you can just play whichever card you need to from either hand or trash. 3 of the War Groundmons from BT12. Essentially, the idea of this one is that you get to go up into Galatmon for a reduced cost, and then if you swing and there's nothing that gets destroyed, you gain 2 memory back, making it a very easy way to go into your Galatmon, and keeping the turn to possibly go up into X to then go into Crimson. 2 of the BT12 ones here. This is the one that has Raid, and if I remember correctly, it has the when attacking, delete something that's 5,000 or less DP, and then if you no, hold on, wait, no, that's the wrong one. That's the EX one. What am I doing? when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. Obviously, depending on how many sources you have, that will then obviously increase its range of deletion, which means it can be quite easy for it to delete a level 5. And then when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. If no opponent's Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security. And then if you've got the War Greymon in here, if nothing was deleted, I believe you get 2 memory back as well. Especially if you get to keep it back on your side if you go back to 1 in your memory, because you may be blitzed. You then get to go into the X antibody. Nothing dies, maybe, and then you get to unsuspend, and then you can go up into Crimson and try and go for game. We do have access here to the beautiful alternate art Galapmon. I'd love to have a couple of these, but at the prices they are, unfortunately, Mr. Agito will not be getting them any soon. You may play this card from your hand. If you have no Digimon, reduce the play cost by 2 for every 5 total cards if both players' trashes. So, add up the trashes. If I've got 12 and my opponent has 13, that's 25. And then so we reduce the cost by 2 for every 5, which would be 10. So it's now free. It now costs free to play, and it has rush. So if it didn't go into my opponent's side, he gets rush with it. And then on play, when digital and when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 13,000 DP instead. This can be very good because right now a lot of people hold their shines. So they'll go up into shine. They will then sit on it. They'll give everything minus 5,000 DP, and then they'll just kind of laugh maniacally, thinking there's nothing you can do against it. And they know that if they want to swing out the following turn, they can basically pop it to make it do another 5,000. Or if you're playing Galapmon, you can just throw it on the field and go, boom. And you can swing with this if you fancy, or you can just sit there for a turn because it's just at the end of your opponent's turn, right? But yeah, I think it's a really good choice here. X Antibodies here for the unsuspend, because until we get BT17, Galapmon doesn't have an unsuspend currently in its sources. We will be soon. So there might be some very cheeky plays we're going to get soon where Galapmon is just constantly unsuspending itself. Remember Gijumon here, Henny did say if you go back and watch the stream that they did this specifically for milling the opponent and occasionally for popping a big body. Obviously you do one or the other, and it does have technically what they class as a floating effect. So when it dies, you do get to play a Takato and a Guilmon, so you get to play one of each, which is really good because a lot of things it's like you have to choose. And then depending on what's in your sources, if you do have the Black Groundmon, you can also bring back another key piece from the trash. Again, depending on what you need, so it's either a Growl or Gallant in name, I believe it is. So if you need to get, say, back a Crimson Mode because it was in security, or both of your Crimson Modes in security, that could be basically the difference between winning and losing the game. Crimson Mode shouldn't need to have an announcement. I think, like me, Henny's a poor man, because there's no way in how we're going to be paying $2.5 grand for the alternate art Crimson Mode currently available on the card market. But for those who don't know what it is, when digivolving, punch a dude in the face as hard as you can, and then when attacking, take off the first security card, and then for every 10 of your opponent's trash, remove another card from security. So if your opponent has 20 trash, you will then remove 3 cards from security, and then you will swing either into security or into the opponent's face. 9 times out of 10, if Crimson Mode is on the field and the game has gone long enough, you're generally guaranteed your win condition. And a lot of people fear that, but also have to play their own game plan, so it can be a bit rocky how things work. One Gravity Crush, I've tried this myself. I liked it the 1 or 2 times I did play it, but it does feel very weird because of how Galapmon pushes itself into your opponent's memory just to play the game, and that can feel very awkward at times. 2 of the Blazing Memory Boosts. This is just here because obviously it's a format for it. You do a lot of removal, and to be fair, when I was testing Galapmon for finals last year, it did feel very weird to play this because it did feel very baity. But now that we have more decks that do want to go wide by playing things from effects, it makes sense that you want to have this available just in case. Or if you're going against Neomon where they have like 2 or 3 bodies on the field because everything is very weak, it can just basically wipe the field. They might have to play. They might want to try and play something afterwards, but unfortunately they are unable to due to the effects of Crimson Blaze. 2 of the Red Memory Boost. Again, memory can be tight in this deck. It makes sense that you want to have as much memory as possible, and then also searching through for the key pieces at times. 9 times out of 10, as long as you have like your one blitzing Takato and they can't, as long as they can't remove it, generally speaking, you're in a good place in this deck. Having the extra memory and then just finding your pieces is very good. And then the 4 of trainings. Yeah, it's, in my opinion, training is a much better card than your memory boosts are, because it gets any red card in the deck, and all your cards are red. So yeah, training is much better to me. 2 of the memory boosts two of the memory setters, Takatos here. Great card. I'm not sure how we're going to do this when we get to BT17. We're going to take these out and then put in the new ones, because this one I believe needs to have a level 6 new opponents on the field to go warping up, even though we do have access to the warping ones currently already. And then we have 4 of the Takatos with Blitz that will gain a memory if you destroy something your opponents on the field. Gaining a memory per Takato that gets suspended, so up to 4 if you have 4 on the field. And Blitz isn't once per turn, by the way, so if you can Blitz, go back onto your side of the memory, unsuspend, you can Blitz again, and boy baby, we do it a lot. Speaking to Henny, they were running the X antibody package a bit more heavily, I think, which a lot of people were doing originally, and that may be the issue why a lot of people were suffering with this deck and just couldn't get it to work, because you're having to rely on core boys, having to rely on the X antibody, having to rely on going up in like a big stack, and a deck that doesn't have protection to stop you from basically punishing it for having a stack doesn't feel very good. So I think Henny has basically worked out all the kinks for this deck, and I want to see more people take this forwards. He did say that his biggest weakness, which would be like red, a hybrid, he saw none of those that day, so it did make things a lot easier for him. But fairly a good deck to go into Levy, fairly a good deck to go into Numon, very good deck to go into security control, because they might be able to destroy you, but because they have to keep putting things in the trash, they will come a point where they just can't do anything about it. And then there's a few other decks, obviously, that just want to play their own game. Luger as well, anything purple, is basically going to suffer under the guise of a Crimson mode. But that's it today, guys. Thank you for being here. After recording this, it's been an hour and a half. After editing this, it'll probably go down to about 40 minutes. But hopefully you guys are fantastic and have a great day. Mwah. Speak to you guys soon, and hopefully we'll get to ourselves a stream, and we can just chill out and relax with some card games. So peace out and goodbye. Mwah.